Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Mindset Check. Today we have Chung on. Thanks for being on.
My pleasure. I'm excited to be here. Honored to be invited. Thank you, David.
Yes. Yeah. A mutual friend of ours connected us, thought the world of you, really thought you could bring some knowledge and wisdom to the conversation. So really excited for that. And Christy, if you're listening or watching, thanks for making the connection. So you are a productivity coach. I want to dive into what has been super important for our viewers, and which is why we created this whole Mindset Check series, is during the day I noticed that a lot of us can get beat up a little bit, or we hit some sort of obstacle along the way and we have to pivot. It's important that we share and learn techniques that help us pivot successfully. What are you doing for yourself personally? How do you prime yourself for the day? That way you can then go and help all these people that you help.
Well, one of the reasons I really enjoy coaching is it's no longer about me. I've had many coaching sessions, and one valuable lesson I learned, I can get everything in life I want if I will just help enough other people to get what they want. Does that sound familiar?
Yes. What famous individual said that?
Zig Ziglar.
There you go. That's it.
I realized that I think a lot of us, we work and do the impossible for others much more likely than we do it for ourselves. And because now it's no longer about me, it's about somebody else. And so I am out of the picture, and I just focus on helping other people achieve their goals.
And why do you think that is? Is that a human characteristic for us to do more for others than ourselves? Is it because we're all connected and so it's a natural feeling to want to help one another?
I think so. And you can't argue that there's a great deal of pleasure in giving gifts.
Yes.
Yeah, it's giving.
That's beautiful. Okay, so how do you in the morning, let's start from the morning, you get up, what are you doing? How are you creating that mindset for you to create that momentum to go ahead and just conquer your day?
The title that you put today, Be the Miracle You're Looking For, sums it up. I could use a miracle pretty much every day. I think we could all use a miracle. And I am positive there's someone out there could really use a miracle today. And so when I focus on that, it's like, whose miracle can I be today?
Yeah.
And then, start the day. One of my coaches' daily question in the morning was, whose life are you going to make better today?
Mm-hmm.
That was always the question. You just take that approach.
Yeah. So you're looking to serve.
Multiply, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Serving your clients, serving your community, serving your family. When you're doing that, you decide how you're going to show up. How do you execute on that? So you said, how am I going to be a miracle today? Who am I going to help? How does that help guide you through the day?
The why is there. The why is other people.
Mm-hmm.
And the how is now the skill. I need a certain skill set. The desire might be there. If I don't have skill, I'm no good.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can I be better today for serving others? And so there are many different things. And just an example, technical issues, like how to write an offer, representing clients, conversation with clients, communication skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm constantly learning on how to communicate better. And so how do I really get good at this? The word excellence comes to mind. How do I become excellent at something? Mm-hmm. And that really drives my day pretty much. It's like a learning.
And how did you become like this? I mean, a lot of us go through trials, tribulation. If we're lucky that we're gifted with parents who teach us this way of being. Were you always like this? Did you become like this out of necessity? Talk to me about that.
I have a great deal of admiration for a lot of people. And I look, why do I admire these people? These are badass people. They got some mad skills. They're really good at what they do. Like Jackie Chan, martial arts, for example. They make it look so easy. Let's look at athletes, professional athletes. They are excellent at what they do. And yet we want to succeed without wanting to learn the skill.
Right.
That's not happening.
So we want to reap the harvest without planting the seeds and tilling the soil.
Yeah. So learning the skill, learning a new language, learning a new, something new. I don't know if you're into fine dining. When you go to the fine dining restaurants and you look at the impeccable plating that these chefs do, they took a lot of time to practice that. And I cook at home. It doesn't come out like that. Mm-hmm. But every time I do a new dish, I say, okay, and then I look back and think back of the techniques, and I want to apply that. So it's not a matter of being a perfectionist, but am I better today than I was better yesterday?
And what's your metric for that? I mean, how are you gauging your progress?
Well, in the cooking, it's just like the taste and the looks. Mm-hmm. So that's just an example. Also, I think the number of raving fans you start building around you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard to say who is the raving fan, but I think a good measure is referral business. There's a chef I admire greatly, Aitor Zabala. He's from Somni. I rave about him. And then I'm thinking, is there someone out there raving about me as a professional in my industry?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do today so somebody can rave about me? And I
Mm-hmm.
have to be really learning some skills in order to achieve that.
Sure. Especially if you want to operate at that level of excellence that you're talking about.
Just one thing at a time, right? I don't know who said it, but the most perfect technique is that which is not noticed at all.
Mm.
You make it easier. And another one is if you want to do great things, do small things in a great way. So
Mm-hmm.
you perfect the one little thing.
Have you heard of the book Atomic Habits?
I've heard about it.
James Clear. I'm currently at the end of the book. It's a phenomenal book. I encourage anybody to pick it up. The focus is on doing the small things, right? It's creating those small habits that create momentum in your life. And it's amazing, there's a way to do that. There's techniques, there's habit stacking, and a lot of ways that you can do that. But the focus is the little things, it's the subtle things.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but I'm the type of guy who's like, I want big change. I want big change now, right? And so I'm learning to step back and say, okay, what can I do today? The little things, the planting the seeds that'll create the big change or the big momentum that I want, because that's where you create true changes through the habits, through identity.
I think we have a lot to learn by watching the professional athletes. They just practice and practice, one little move at a time.
Right.
Who said it? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, or something like that.
Sure. I'm curious, I want to dive into your head a little bit. What are you thinking? What is your thought process when you come across a challenge? So let's say Ho is going through the day, boom, he meets a challenge. How do you address it? How do you overcome it?
So I sell real estate. So one of the challenges is, conversations is a seller that wants to sell the house and buy a house concurrently. How do I answer these questions? How do I present a solution to their problem? And I have the conversation. After that meeting is over, I reflect. Did everything go well? Could I have done better? And then I'll go back and rewrite the scenario, go through the conversation out loud, just by myself in the room. But it's a script that you practice.
Mm-hmm.
And the better job at it, the better it's communication.
Yeah, sure.
So that's how I practice.
Okay. The truth is we all have scripts anyway. We're all rehearsing these scripts in our heads constantly, and it's like if you can grab what you're scripting for your life and change it so you can start having the conversations you want to have and the way you want to have them, then I think you can create some impactful change there.
I push my agents that I coach to build skill. It's really difficult to earn the trust and the respect from the client.
Mm-hmm. Is there a skill when it comes to mindset?
No overthinking. I'm filled with quotes, but I think one of the big football coaches or basketball coaches, if you're not practicing, that's okay. Just remember that someone somewhere is practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you meet him, you lose.
Yes.
I just don't like the sound of that.
Yeah. You're like a book, man. You are just filled with a ton of information. That's your skill.
Because this is the stuff that I have to use to push people to do things that they don't feel like doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's instill a little potential pain. You want to lose? Some other listing agent is going to take the listing.
Right. A little play on with the pain pleasure.
Yeah, I'll have pain and pleasure. Exactly.
Right. Some could argue that your biggest, most important coaching client is yourself.
Sure.
And you're doing that every day, whether you know it or not. Talk to me about that, right? Because you're human. Yeah. You're going to have moments of distraction, moments of disappointment.
I start thinking of the regret. I think regret is one of the most painful feelings, emotions that most people will feel. So even this morning, I didn't feel like going on a bike ride. Mm-hmm. I was like laying in bed at 5 o'clock. I didn't want to get up. Oh, if I don't, I'm going to regret. Yeah, I'm going to go. Right. And it was cold.
Sure.
But man, 5 minutes into the ride, I was happy I did it.
Yes.
And it's always like that. You're always happy that you did it.
Mm. After
so
the fact.
Regret is after the fact.
Right. I'm reading, I think it was in this book as well, but it talked about the skill of doing the small hard tasks consistently every day will lead you to a more gratifying life.
We're salespeople, and the best sales tactic is tap into people's emotion. I know emotionally, I just don't like pain or the regret, the pain of regret. And so I tap into that. Oh, you're going to regret this. You're going to regret this. Ugh. I shoulda.
You talked about being a miracle, being the miracle you want to see. Can you share with us an example of that where you said, hey, I'm going to be this to this person today, and you showed up for them, and, what was it like after? And, so somebody who's listening and watching, they can be like, okay, hey, this is something I could do. Give me something simple, maybe.
When we talk about miracles, some people are probably thinking of some kidney donor, stuff like that.
Right.
But I'm thinking of something as small as a simple smile, a simple hello, a meaningful hello, a simple happy birthday. We're on social media. We have thousands of friends and followers. And yet we're so cheap with the likes and the comments.
Sure.
And the acknowledgement that we're all hungry for. We can give this for free. It doesn't cost anything. Go on Facebook. I look at who's doing the birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. In the hopes that will brighten up their day. I really don't think there's a person out there that wakes up in the morning and the first thing that comes to their mind is, how can I screw somebody over today? I highly doubt that. The day progresses for them, they start having a bad day. And now they're not a pleasant person in society. If I can somehow tap into that, someone having a bad day, and affect it in a positive way, I think one person at a time, this world will be better.
100%. So what I hear what you're saying is when you wake up, the natural tendency for most of us is to focus on ourselves. What you're doing to give you the motivation, give you the the courage, the energy to go into your day is you're looking outside and saying, who can I help? Whose miracle can I be? And by doing that, you're giving yourself that drive. You're able to get outside of yourself and really get into your world and be a catalyst for positive change.
And learn the skills that are needed to achieve that.
What skills would you say that is?
I think communication skill is number one. Conversational skills. Here in this little quick chat between you and I, we didn't say hey, how's the weather there? Or how was your weekend? Those typical,
Right.
No.
Yeah.
We need more of that communication skill.
If you could leave, the listeners, the viewers with one last thing, something to encourage them into the weekend, to their next week, leave them with something special, Ho.
I'll quote Elon Musk. You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve. And I say problems, it could be somebody's miracle or someone needs a little help. And so this is paying forward. So who has a problem that I can solve?
I love it.
Constantly look for it. Next time when you ask someone, hi, how are you? You should be asking, how are you? In a meaningful way.
Sure.
Is there a problem that I solve?
There's a big difference.
There is.
And it's the way you feel, the way you hear it, the way everybody's like, hey, how are you? It's just a hi, right? But if you say, hey, how are you doing today? And really dive in and be there fully present. I love that, Ho. You've been such a great guest. I love our conversation. I'd love to have you back and talk a little bit more about